Safe in Merrick's arms, Chapter 2. Good morning exercise. Summer lived in an apartment building on one of the hills that framed Kingston. She loved having a view from her home, and this apartment had one of the best. She had a panoramic view from Long Mountain to Hunts Bay. In the morning, she let herself out of her apartment for a 5 a.m. cross-country walk on roads across the undulating hills around the area where she lived. As it was early morning, she dressed herself in shorts and a tank top and no hat. She usually walked about 3 miles up to the water tank that served the area and then turned and returned home, outpacing most of the regular hill walkers. But if high school boys were doing hill training, they easily trotted past her. Household staff, usually caregivers who had finished the night shift, would be heading down the hill to the nearest bus stop. Then what was a lonely road would also be busy with passing motor cars, taking children to school, and people to their daily occupations. Summer was stretching at her gate when a bicycle with a cloaked gardener passed her, and then she started her climb. At about 20 minutes into her walk, there were no more apartments with security guards, and she was where the houses were further apart behind unmanned electric gates. Summer turned a deep bend and noticed that there were 2 unfamiliar men behind her walking briskly. Then she noted that a heavily tinted car was parked just ahead of her, hugging the verge. She felt nervous. This combination of single parked car and 2 unfamiliar men walking at a brisk pace behind her was unusual. She picked up her pace and went from a brisk walk to a jog and crossed the road so that she would be as far away from the motor car as possible. If she kept up the pace, she would then reach the brow of a hill and a community square. The door of the car cracked open. Summer started to run to put distance between herself and the scene. From in front of her, she heard the low crank of a pedal forcing a chain to turn and the faint skid of a bicycle. The cloaked gardener was facing her. "Jump on," he hissed. She tried to scream, and he grabbed her arm, and she looked at the dark space where his face was in the morning, in the gloom of the morning. "Summer, it's Merrick. Jump on the bike." He had taken one hand from the handle, exposing the bar where she was to sit, and she saw the deeply veined arm and hands and recognized the low voice like the whisper of wind. The 2 men were running in sync with each other and were just seconds away. The motor car now had a running engine. Summer climbed onto the top tube, both legs to one side. Merrick grabbed the handle and she felt him push off, pointing downhill. One of the men tried to grab her and she delivered a kick that she felt land on a solid body. It gave them the half a second that they needed for Merrick to start pedaling fast, and soon they were flying down the hill, leaving the men and the car behind.